James, what have these seniors meant to you, your staff, program, and how would you describe their leadership?
They've been unbelievable. They really have. These guys, I'll kind of remember forever. I think Penn State will remember these guys forever. Their 5 years, they ought to get together and write a book because they've seen a lot in a short period of time and overcome adversity and stuck together. We came in as a coaching staff and spent a lot of time working and growing together. And right now we're at a point where these guys have been awesome. You look at it, I think we have 12 seniors, 4 of which are starting for us, or 5, excuse me, if you count special teams with Yaz, 5 of them are starting for us. But whether you count these guys as starters or not, their impact has been significant. They're all either have already graduated or on schedule to graduate. They've been really good leaders. A guy like Derek Dowry has handled adversity this year. And when I say adversity, it goes from a guy that's starting and playing a lot to maybe a guy that's playing more of a backup role, but has been big on special teams, has been big in the locker room, has been great with me personally and professionally. They're special guys, and I think they're going to be remembered as the class that really kind of held this place together, and also left out of here by making sure the program was headed in the right direction before they walked out the door. So very proud of those guys and very appreciative as well.
You handle a team that, for lack of a better word, is unpredictable coming into your last home game.
I think they're very predictable. I think what you do is you look at trends, no different than any other industry. In the last 2 games, they've played really well. They've played, the Michigan State style of football that we've all seen over the last number of years. Obviously, how they were playing in the beginning of the season compared to how they're playing now is different. There's no doubt about it. But what you do is you watch the last 2 games. They put up a bunch of points and shut a team out, 2.5 weeks ago. Last week they took the number 2 team in the country to the wire and lost by 1. So I think we know what to expect. We're going to have a team coming in here that's going to play with a tremendous amount of pride and passion. And they're well coached and they're talented. They've recruited extremely well there. They've always been a good staff in developing talent, and then the last couple of years they've recruited at a very high level, so they're talented. So we are going to respect our opponent week in and week out. We're going to focus on Penn State. We're going to prepare like crazy all week long, and then we're going to need that stadium, jumping on Saturday, once again, so we can all support one another and do everything we possibly can to find a way to get a positive result on Saturday.
On Saturday, you are very consistent in your emphasis on be in the moment, take care of this week's opponent, right? Everything, be in the present. I think it's going to be a unique challenge in that sense because the Michigan-Ohio State game will be ending around the same time that your game begins. Are you going to talk to your guys about that? Are you going to deal with that? How do you want to have that information?
I think that's a fair question. I think that's a great point. We've discussed it as a staff, and we're going to talk about it with the team. That game is right before ours. How that game plays out, who wins, who loses, how people look at that and how that impacts our future. There's no doubt that's going to be a factor. So we're going to discuss it ahead of time. Once again, I'm going to go back to my approach. None of that matters if we don't handle our business on Saturday against Michigan State. So that information will be out there. The way social media is, just the way the fans are, the reaction in the stadium, things like that. They'll be aware of it. But once again, we just got to go out and play well on Saturday and focus on Michigan State. And after the game is over, then we'll find out kind of what our next step in our journey is. And whatever that step is, we'll embrace and we'll be appreciative of. And we'll start preparing for whoever that next opponent is and whatever that next opportunity is. But we're going to talk about it because, again, it's not like we just put our head in the sand, and act like these things aren't going on. We discuss them. as a program. We discuss them as a staff and with the players. Let people get off their chest what they need to get off their chest. Make sure we're approaching things the right way, the way the players want to approach it, as well as the coaches. And then once again get our focus back to the task at hand, which is Michigan State.
Back to timing and everything else.
Yeah, I don't love it, to be honest with you. I got my radio show tonight, which Tuesday's a big game plan night for us. Typically, you can handle Thanksgiving. Typically, you can handle a night game the previous week. It's hard to do both. We didn't get back till 5:15 in the morning. I think by the time everybody got to their houses or got in the Lash building, it was 5:15 in the morning. I bump everything back. But the problem is you do that during Thanksgiving week, you're cutting into Sunday game planning. Monday's off. Tuesday today, because have the radio show tonight, we have to move practice up earlier. Well, now we move practice up earlier. That cuts out of game planning that we already are cut short on. So there's a lot of kind of gymnastics that go with it, and probably the fact of the night game before already a short week in some ways can make it challenging. Thursday we practice on Thanksgiving. We practice in the morning, so again you lose that day of fine-tuning some of the things that you're doing before practice that afternoon. So you lose some of that as well. But I am a creature of habit. I like routine. I like the consistency in our preparation and how we do things. So, we planned on this way ahead of time. It's not like we're scrambling at the last minute. We knew all these things, but it's still out of our norm. The good thing is, for the most part, besides the fact that Michigan State, I don't think, had a night game the previous week, and it wasn't on the road, it was home. That's probably the biggest difference. We're both having to deal with Thanksgiving in the middle of a practice week and how that modifies things. The difference we have is the night road game is a challenge.
Michigan State, their run game, I think they have over 200 yards for their last 5 games. What do you see there, and how do you go about shutting that off?
Well, they've always been great up front. I think that's kind of how that program has been built with the D line and with the O line. I think the thing that's different right now is the running back. I mean, he was a great player last year. I think they were getting that offensive line to kind of grow and mature early on this season, and right now he is running hard. They do a lot of stuff in terms of run game and then play action pass, and a lot of misdirection stuff with fake reverses and fake fly sweeps and things like that to try to cause some indecision at the linebacker unit. So I think that's the biggest thing is you're going to have your D line is going to have to challenge their O line at the point of attack. We can't get knocked back, which we got knocked back last year. And then we got to be able to get the running back on the ground. He's a big, strong back who can make you miss, can run for power. Him and Saquon, I think in some ways have some similarities. So that's going to be a real challenge for us.